Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back, or welcome here if you're a first timer. I'm BW, and this is a draw along or a paint along. Let me tell you something about me. I believe that every work of art is a bridge between what we know and what we have yet to recognize. My mission is to create art and music that help people see themselves, each other, and their stories from a new perspective. Today, we'll be using a simple drawing to cross one of those bridges. So, this one will be like an hour, maybe. I don't know. What's funny is you already know because YouTube told you. You are a person from the future receiving information from the past. Lucky you. Okay, man. Here we go. Let's make this thing happen. I want to make a cube. I'm really quite sad, y'all. I've had a very long day. It's 3 o'clock and I am just now making it back home in order to draw. I've been having some car problems, some car troubles. But we're a whole lot better now. If only, yeah, we're doing a whole lot better than what we were at the beginning of the week. Did I forget something? I forgot something. Okay, we're gonna make it up. We're gonna make up time. How are we gonna make up time? Well, we didn't really lose any time. What happened was traditionally when I do this technique, we start off with a plane. We start off with 2 planes. However, we're using this technique in an existing work of art. Therefore, things are a little bit different this time. Same technique, new application. Yeah, I'm gonna blame the heat. I have to blame the heat. Like, it's so hot, man. And what do we know? When it's hot like this, everybody gets kind of you get pushed into your instincts. Cause like the ability to think got evaporated because it's so hot. And there are people outside working, bro. I know, like, getting conditioned to the terms of the world helps. God bless anybody that's outside, man. Oh, man. Yeah. Hurting. Okay. So, here we go. This is where we start with a binary setting. And binary is where understanding begins, not where it ends. To our first timers, this is going to be like a mix. This is like a mix of philosophy. This is like art time with the officer and the sergeant. So where's our light? Our light is here. How cool is that? You are currently watching something that was made for you in the past. You know more about what's going to happen than I do. I mean, I know how to respond to things, right? But I don't know what things I'm going to have to respond to. You've already seen the end of this drawing, whereas right now I am working to get us there. Okay, so we got light coming from this angle. That's how we got this shadow. The light hits this angle here the hardest, the 45. However, the light also hits this plane and the light will also hit one other plane fairly evenly. And that's going to be this plane. I think it's safe to say I can share with you what we're gonna make. You've already seen it. As we approach this stone, I mean, this is how we're going to get to the stone, right? We're first establishing our planes. And then from here, we're going to reduce to the stone. However, these planes are going to be our guide into values. It's almost like a perspective grid. It's like a value grid. So, once again, binary is where understanding begins and not where it ends. Binary is a way of describing something using only two possible states. Why do we care, bro? So we've got our cube, right? This gives us form, it gives us size, but now we want to reduce the cube using space. Space and shape. They're like cousins using this technique, when using this technique. So I'm gonna work from, because I'm drawing, I'm gonna create space by shading. By shading? Yes. And what I mean by shading is, I'm using, instead of erasing here, this back plane was dark, right? So I'm gonna continue on because this back plane is going to remain dark. So I don't want to use the eraser to create color. I want to use the tip of the pencil to create the shadow, to extend the shadow. Now the other thing I want to do here, I don't want to erase any of that white that's already on there. I want them to collide because I've got both energies happening at the same place at the same time. I've got some glare, I've got some reflection, I've got some shadow happening here. Very, very interesting plane that we can't see here on the backside. I've been very, very hesitant throughout my art career to commit to a technique or a style. Oh man, I'm getting some reflection on my hand from the lights. I may have to change the lights. But this technique, this approach is something that for the foreseeable future I'll be using. I like it philosophically as much as I like it as a tactician, as a draftsman, as a draftsperson. Because my art is also, very interesting. I don't like that I stroked shadow up. The shadow doesn't go this direction. What goes that direction? The lights belong to this plane. Look at this. This is a gum eraser, but I cut it up using a palette knife to simulate a brush. Now look, it's got limitations, all right, but I like it. You make you want to. It makes drawing a little bit more like painting. All right, so here we are. We're still grinding away. We're still making shape. And we're extending the shadow. You know, if you're drawing, you can do it this way. If you're painting, you would do it the exact same way. Now, what do y'all think we're gonna do when we get over here to this side? And why do you think that's what we're going to do? Put it in the comments. If you said that we're going to continue to use the dark end, you're correct. And why? But why? Why would we continue to use this edge? Because we're drawing the plane that sits underneath the cube. So this line here that wraps underneath our cube, or our stone block, it is becoming a stone block as far as I'm concerned. I can see it, I feel it, would be the darkest plane. There's no reflection. There's only shadow. There's only darkness underneath this. It's so hot that it evaporates your ability to think. You gotta, I mean, if that's the case, like if that's also the truth, then like you gotta be able to give people grace today. Yourself, your spouse, your children. Oh boy, here I go. Down and on camera. Get this guy out of here. Okay, so check this out. Let's say I wanted to make a new plane. Let's say I wanted to make a cut in the stone. And I wanted to put it. Okay, so I just made a new wall that mirrors or repeats this plane over here. So everything that I did over here, I would do it again right here in this situation. Now it's like a little split in the rock, in the stone. Now, let's say I did something very similar to right here. As you can see, I've switched over to the white. I'm going to extend the opening, or I'm going to create an opening here, which is crazy because this would actually mean, you know, I'm putting more light in. Oh, this would be brighter, right? Even though I'm pushing into the cube, I'm going to add white. I'm going to add the highlight in order to make an indentation into the cube. And it's not just it's gonna get some black because we're repeating this plane. Oh, that's some head. This can become some pretty heady stuff. So it's not this plane. My bad. I just like forced you to look. Let me try to use my words better. For this indentation that we're adding into the corner of the cube, we are going to use some black at the top of the indentation. Because the top of the indentation is a repeat of the bottom plane. Welcome to the University of W. So we've got 3 colors working, right? And we're going to use these 3 colors to create all sorts of variation that give us the feeling that we are looking at a stone. And in short, if you want to turn the stone and you want to make the stone angle this direction, you repeat this color. If you want to make the stone go this direction, or
Yeah. If you want the stone to go up and down or left and right, then you add the white. So, you know, right now we got like, this is pretty much saying like, this corner here comes straight out. But if we want to like turn it ever so slightly, then we're going to start introducing some more shadow. I'm gonna make sure that even if I'm recording for like 3 days on this drawing, I'll just do a time lapse or something to make sure that we get it under an hour. If it's like perfectly at an hour, then that means that there's the time lapse coming. And the statement that I'm saying right now very well could turn into your brightest beam is gonna be here. So let's mess with this thing. What's up, Amy Boom? Well, I believe it. It's probably the heat though. All right, so I want to repeat this plane here in the top. Actually, if we had another plane here. What's up? It says Raven's Nest.
What does that mean?
It means, I guess, turn her into a bird lady. So I'm going to erase some of this top plane. I want to make like a little plateau. Actually, I want to make a little peak here on the side. All right, but my goal is to raise this little section here and to lower this section back here. All right, so what's back here? It looks like color. Now, even though we're erasing, like some of this white's still going to be there. We don't really want it to leave entirely. All right, so form is starting to happen, right? So I want to go back to something I'm currently feeling like I trailed off on. I really like starting from the cubes. And I like it because of what they demand of us. Like, they demand deeper understanding. Oh, yeah. So, like, you gotta have, like, they demand that you have 6 sides of understanding. And whatever the subject is, whatever the object is. All right, need some help, guys. Okay, so we got like this. I'm working on a crack right here, right? But why didn't I put any black in there? Well, do we have any representatives for the bottom plane? No. Do we have any representatives for the side plane, the far side plane? And no, we don't. We don't have any movement that's moving this way or this way. So therefore, in order to draw this line here, we'll need the white. Can the gray do it? No. Can the black do it? No. Now anything that pops up along this line is going to be our highlight. Anywhere that we erase from the cube is going to get glare back into wherever the cube was. I've got a stone reference, but I have to be very honest with you. It's not really helping me. I almost feel like it's making it harder, and I'm already struggling today. Do I want to put another dent in here? Not really, but I do want to round this section. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean I chip off this corner? Possibly. You know, right now this side is also really flat. How would we add a new angle? We could add some black. We could make some bottom. I couldn't tell you how much caffeine I've had today. So one of the things I'm messing with now is design on the stone. I very well could be premature here, but I'm just trying to see what I can shake up to try to increase the communication of the drawing. You know, we gotta get out of a block of cheese and into reality. This drawing is going to be the, well, it's not the cover, but it is the work of art that is the cover. But one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted this drawing to progress as the magazine goes on. Okay, so what I want here is around the stone. So I'm going to do a lot of like what I did here. And I'm just going to darken it. Let me see how I'm doing on time. I mean, I already told you what I was going to do in regards to time, but I still want to see. 38 minutes. How do we look on the monitor? It's looking like a stone, but we still got a lot of that cube in there, and that is now this little section of the stone should be pretty cool. And I say that because I get to work with the lead, the smudge stick, and the eraser. You know, anything that I want facing this way, I just this kind of looks like something. I made it worse. Okay. So I think, as far as structure is concerned, we would want what do we want? See? Slipping into instinct and instinct only. Cannot walk and chew gum. Not today. Okay. I'll make some face over here. Or at least attempt to. One of the things that I am also wanting to do is like make the design of a stone here, but that may be a luxury in comparison to communicating the task at hand. Okay. You know, now I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this. You know, it just kind of looks like the wrong type of flat. All right, so we're gonna turn one little section of the stone the opposite direction, ever so slightly. Now I just want something soft here. I want a soft rotation of this side of the stone. On this side, we got like pure image. And then over here, we got not a whole lot for image, but a whole lot for weight. Like, this thing has mass. I'm having a little bit of a hard time here, and I'm saying that because I'm finding myself getting thrown between the effort that's required for like hold on. The effort that's required for like a 40-hour drawing versus a 40-minute drawing. I'm trying. I'm trying to keep this painting cool. This drawing. You know, if we put a make a couple of little adjustments there. Just make some adjustments. All right. So now we got this little corner poking out. That's fine. See what happens if I erase that line there. Then I would need some white here. It wouldn't even matter, bro. It would get like this. It would get a gradient there. this like yeah. Okay. Now I'm making a lot of what I'm doing now at this point is like design stuff. Like I'm trying to make it look like a stone. The texture, the rhythm, the color. This point, I want to erase this point. Or at least want to push it. You know, I don't want it to stay like a perfect cube right here. Or maybe I don't mind it so much. I'm not sure yet. I think one of the challenges is making the micro terrain. And that's where this drawing wants to turn into a focused and like time consuming work of art. Okay, let's try a gradient. What if we round this? Now the pressure of the light hitting these two planes, it's like this piece that I've still got here. This is going to remain true whether this is the corner or not, but it'll adjust, right? Let's reduce. I want this, let's make this a fault. What happens on this backside? If light is here, then this backside is the same as this side. I gotta get some better language than this side, that side, back side, bottom side. It would be something like x plane 2. I just want to round. By doing this, what happens when I draw the highlight down into the x plane 2? X plane 1 being technically invisible. Does that give us roundness? It's kind of hard to say. We still have this highlight here. Like a fault line here. But this repeats the bottom plane. Look, we already have the fault line. Okay. So fault lines move against the grain. Fault lines can communicate depth. They can also communicate cracking, design. We are painters, we are artists, but today we are geologists. Interesting. Probably should have had this information whenever I started. Well, too late now. So now the question is, how do you respect color while mixing in value and having the limitation of being black paper or white charcoal? I think one of the places where we missed some opportunities was to make some little fractures along the cornerstone here. Soften and expand. Instead of it just being that hard line there, just kind of increase the white plane, the corner plane. And then this one would get, like, to mimic that same motion, some would be erased out, some would be drawn down. All right, and we're gonna leave it at that. One of the things that I know that I need and that I absolutely want is for this bottom plane to be black. Oh, kind of having some problems with that. We gotta try something. I'm gonna cut the lights. Now I've got some new issues. So I can see my paper better, but now, man, I've got shadows from the tripod. Okay. So one of the ways that I think that we can get around this, what's value and what's color, is using the smudge stick. We'll use the smudge stick for color. Why, man? Because it's not that simple. Color needs continuity, right? And how do we get the most continuity? Do we get more continuity by leaving it just the stroke of the pencil, or do we get more continuity by blending it together? Blending will allow us to, will also afford us the luxury of going back over a section with the pencils again to lighten or to darken. See, watch what I can do. Which way do we want this plane to break? Do we want it to break that way? Probably not. We want it to stay on its side. So I'm actually gonna make it brighter. And now this is like a plane that is bulging out more than its original cube. Maybe I can get some light from here. There we go. I think that helps. Kind of creates a glare. Hey, this is gonna be hard, right? But how can we make it harder today? If it goes this way, it flows with. Right. Let's just imagine that this belongs down to that there. Is that buff? No idea, man. I think I've got. I think I've got it. The other thing that I like about blending for our color is that it allows me to mix the highlights. You know, it allows me to keep these light planes light in the light. You know, it doesn't undo the white chalk that I put there. As the stone sits on top, it kind of pulls, and then as it cuts down through the side, it flows. As it cuts down, yeah, on the top and the bottom, the stone appears to pull. On the sides, on side planes, it appears to flow. See, I'll just run this. I'm not really gonna be careful here. I'm just gonna run the blend stick like through a pattern, through a rhythm. What's there gets blended, what isn't there doesn't. I can make it wider. Okay, and then for the places that I need to, I can reinforce the shadows. Now here we are at the end of the video, and it's kind of interesting. I know less now than I did at the beginning. So weird how that happens. So what is this? Oh, we're back to this plane. From this point, the shadow flows down and to the right, down and to the right from the cube. However, the glare flows up, straight up. Uh-oh, time to go be a dad. So one of the things that I've noticed is that for the paper planes, I've got no better way to describe them. I can't quite make an edge with them. You know, I'm using the eraser. So at best, I can make like a fuzzy line. Whereas I could go back over those lines that I'm creating with the eraser, you know, for the illusion of depth, and I can sharpen those lines with my highlight pencil, with my white charcoal. Now, one of the things that I think would happen is you would get glare. Okay, so we've got a higher section. We can make it look higher for sure by increasing the white. Oh. We can also make it look like it is not just a marble stone, but in my mind, we were making onyx. So we need more white to raise this plane above that plane. And not just more white, we do need some glare. We need some of this motion to interrupt the visual that we see, especially over like there. So let's do this. Let's double down on this spot here. So I'm getting this generic shape from the eraser because it can't erase and twist and turn. It can give me like straight lines, but then I'm gonna put back in my organic edge with a white charcoal pencil. All right, and then I'm going to add the interruptions. Okay, and then on this back side we can add some transitions. Let's see, what can we do? Okay, I would like to see just a few darker darks. I think running the line along the contours will also help you get around the challenge of how do I depict this color while respecting this value. It'll help. If nothing else, it will help. Yosemite. We're gonna make some to go lines. We're gonna make some fault lines, fracture lines. All right. Is this the stone that I imagined that I would make? No, let's do a little test. How can we know? Does it have volume? Yes, this presentation of stone has volume. Okay, so that was the first thing that I knew that I wanted. Does it have organic edges? Yes. What else could it be? I'm not sure what else it could be. I'm sure someone else would see it and immediately think, that doesn't look like a stone at all. That looks like a... You know, if anything, this is the one plane that just isn't quite making my day. What if I just added it? But since it's lower, give it a more intense side shadow. Give it it was closer to... That helps. There we go. Yeah, let's do this. This helps. That helps break the... it gives me the shape. That helps communicate the form. Ooh, that's what we needed right there. That lowers. Okay, but from here, we'll need glare to describe where this back plane is. Because the plane is the same color as the paper, which is where like some of this challenge comes from. So yeah, almost there, almost there. Give me... Okay. This one made me work, y'all. I'm happy with it. I guess I'm happy with it. That's what that sounded like to me. But look, this is kind of challenging. And then I'm gonna have to edit this video. Okay, maybe this will be some 7 grades. And then let's go across here. Yeah, we'll just, right. Yeah, this one we need right here. Check this out. Watch this. Watch these. This gives the rock, the value, its command back, value over the color, or allows them to coexist and communicate. Nope. I think there's this idea that cubes are simple. And yes, they are. But anytime that you've got to manage 6 things at once, I think it's safe to say it's not the easiest thing you'll be doing that day. Let's see what it looks like in the monitor. All right, right or wrong? This is where we stop. All right, so last time.
Binary is where understanding begins and not where it ends. Binary is a way of describing something only using 2 possible states. Life becomes richer the moment we discover there is more to see than either or. Y'all be blessed. I will see y'all tomorrow. We're going to be working on the clowns. I'm telling y'all that right now. We're going back to them clowns. Peace.